Hey, everybody. We are live. I think that I am live. I think. Okay, we don't need that there. Hey, Chris, Denise, how are you? Glad to see you guys are here. The picture that I have up here, for those who didn't see, this is Toby. He's my sulfur crested cockatoo, so people were wondering what he looks like, the one that makes all the noise, believe it or not. And he does make lots of noise. So, how's everybody doing? I guess it was pretty interesting on Disaster Piece, but we're going to leave that there because that's NLH's um, content that he uses, and we're going to use something different here. People were asking about the wallpaper that I have for when you come into the channel, and what that is a picture out of my plane that I use on Microsoft 2024. So that's good. I'm glad to see that, Chris. Yes, things are things are going good. We still have some things that we're working on, issues that sometimes older people get, and I don't want to say a lot, but it's going good. We are taking care of things, and we just got a call today from an agency that says that they can get her a nurse that if we need to come and help out when I'm not around. So, hey Jackie, glad to see you're here. Um, it's I'm hoping everything gets. I tell you what, people, as you get um, it seems like things just creep up on you really fast. So, yeah, things are going better. Right now, she's taking a nap. And so this gave me the perfect opportunity to get on. I'm going to be doing every Thursday from 4 to 6. So people who want to get on can do so. I don't know if MLH will make an appearance or not. I always like having him come up on panel. And if you folks have something that you want to get up on panel, by all means, let me know. I can put the. Let me see here. How am I going to do this? Yes, the years definitely go fast, Jackie. I can't believe that. Now I've been told that I don't sound like 72. Um, I've been told that I sound like I'm in my 50s, maybe, mid to late 50s. So I'm really happy that I don't sound as as what people say that I am. Buttercup, glad to see you in here. Um, Buttercup, I was going to ask you, since you do such a good job on MLH's channel for modding, would you be willing to be a mod for me, if that's possible? I'm not expecting you to, but if you just want to be just in the chat, that's fine. If you would like to be one of my mods, I would appreciate it. Brandon is usually a mod that comes in. And right now he's probably driving, probably getting close to parking. But Buttercup, if you would want to, sure. I'm not expecting you to do it all the time. It's, hey, if you happen to come in, you know the procedures on what to do. So, okay. Tell you what, I'm gonna see if I can do this without messing up. And I believe you are now a mod. And what I'm going to try to do here is, let's see, guest. Okay, what I'm going to do, I'm new to this, people, so please have patience with me. I will put this here. I think this is what I do. And I will send that out for those who would like to come and get up on panel. Yeah, that picture that I have, Chris, that when you first come in with the Flight Simulator 2024, it's really, really a good program for Microsoft for PC. And I wished I had excuse me here. I'm just trying to figure out what I'm doing. Sometimes I get sidetracked and stuff, but it's a really cool program, really is. And I have a lot of people that say, God, at your age, what I didn't do is, I can tell you guys now, since it's over, it was yesterday. I turned 72, believe it or not, and I'm doing real good as far as my health. So I have that to be thankful for. Yeah, sometime we'll have to get together, Chris, and see if we can hook up on Microsoft. And thank you. It is real neat to fly with other people. I haven't been on the PC for, oh gosh, I don't know how many years, or not years, I should say, but months. I went and got a Meta Quest. I'm not sure if anybody is familiar with that. Okay. Now, forgive my enunciation, however you want to say it. Is it Latherga? Is that how it's pronounced? Just put yes or no, or am I close? Maybe. Yeah, I'm glad that I am the age that I am. I know quite a few people who weren't fortunate enough to get up in the age bracket, and I'm glad that you guys came by and got on. But thank you, Jackie, for that, and Buttercup, thank you. Well, I tell you, our I don't know about where you guys live, but it's really causing a lot of chaos with the Secretary of Homeland Security getting on the television and telling the people who are illegals that they need to call the number and get a ride home. And but I don't know what's going to happen. There's definitely probably going to be people who are going to say, no, we're not leaving and you can't make us. But you know how things go. It doesn't really go well for people at times. But Listen, I'm all for people who want to go from a country that they're not doing well into another country like this country of ours. I don't care what people say. You can't beat the United States. This is I'm so glad I was born here and lived here all of my life, and the opportunities here compared to other places, it's just, I mean, we don't realize how well we have it off until those people that come from other countries come here, and I don't blame them. They're not living the life that they should in the countries that they're at, because they live in poverty and everything else. But all I got to say to those people is please, 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 please do it the right way so you don't get sent back. Because I don't like it when it happens, but and I can get really into a heated discussion about this with people. But if you do it the right way, it's man, welcome to this country. Welcome to the United States. If you do it the right way, please do it the right way. Because I don't want to see you get taken away from something that you get a taste of, and all of a sudden it's, like the rug is jerked out from underneath your feet, and you end up on your ass or your head, because you came here to improve your life, and I'm, man, as a human to another human, uh, more power to you. But please do it the right way. We have laws and regulations that are in effect, because if we just let anybody and everybody come here without being, uh, taking those people, and making sure that when they come here, that those are the type of people that we want here, um, because we don't need the drugs. We've got too many drugs as it is. Um, and it's not that I don't. I'm not a holy roller type person saying that if you do drugs, you're a bad person. Everyone has the right to choose. That's part of being a human being, and I don't mind. I've got some friends who drink. I've got some friends who smoke, um, and they're good people, but they're responsible, and they know when not to put other people's lives in danger. And that's the thing. People, do what you want. It's your life, but think about what you do before you do it, that you're not going to put innocent people in harm's way who would end up in a devastating situation because you didn't think about your consequence because of your actions. Man, that was one big thing that my parents, my dad especially, kept saying. Every time you make a call on something or do something, there is going to be a consequence. Um, and it's up to you to decide whether it's going to be good or bad. Because if you make the wrong decision, the consequence is not going to be good for you. And hopefully, it's not going to be damaging to the point where you are not going to be able to get out of it, such as ending up in prison or, you know, uh, being executed because of the stupid mistake that you made by doing something you should have thought about beforehand. Because life is too precious. I tell you what, and people don't realize, and I'm going to say this, the one thing that I realized when I was 26 years old, I used to drink and I smoked pot back then because I was in a band and did the whole thing. I ended up um, getting so drunk that I ended up getting or having my buddies put a tattoo on me. And back then, you didn't need a little piece of paper, that it was I'm trying to think what it's called, but to have someone put a tattoo, you had to agree written, with your signature saying, yes, I agree to this person making a tattoo on my skin, blah, 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 and I'm responsible, whatever. But I got hit in the back of the head by my guardian angel, or whoever you want to call it, common sense. And I realized if I was that drunk to where I didn't even know I had a tattoo put on, would I have been dumb enough to have, if someone would have said, hey, let's play Russian roulette, would I have agreed to it? I mean, that's how bad I was. And it was a real eye opener. And I said, that's it. I'm not going to do this, because I realized at that point that I was not thinking about what my parents did for me. And I'll tell you this, and this is just from my point of view, my opinion, that, and people can disagree or whatever, the greatest gift that my parents gave me was the gift of life. You can't get anything more precious than that. And I thought long and hard and said, well, I'm. So you're saying the movie Hangover? No, it wasn't. But I'm sure people have had that opportunity or the misfortune of doing the same thing that I did. But when I realized that my parents gave me that great gift of life, the only thing that I could give them to even come close to saying how much I appreciated what they did was to live my life as long as I can and try to live it the human way by treating people with respect and empathy and all of that stuff. And I told my parents before they passed, that is what I did, is that I've only one time, and I'll tell you guys this, and I'll tell you the story, and it was really just being at the wrong spot at the right time. I've never been in jail. I've never been in prison. I've never been incarcerated in any type of situation where I had done something bad enough to put myself there. But I was put in the back of a police car, or sheriff's car, I should say, because someone had made a false call stating that someone had shot their father, and they went to this residence where there was a fourplex, and I ended up. I'm trying to read you guys' stuff here too. Southern Yankee, hey, glad to see you made it. Beachcomber, thank you very much. It's past midnight. Oh my gosh. Well, thank you for showing up. Hit that like button, you guys, if you would, please. I don't have a drum roll yet. I'm using the free version, and I'm not going to jump into this with both shoes, because I don't know how long it's going to be before I get back on Disaster Piece Theater. We're still working things out here and getting things, a routine that's going on. But anyway, Brandon, good to see you're here, buddy. We got Buttercup as another mod, so you guys can work together. Not like there's so many people on here that are going to cause problems. I mean, we had, was it Scott from New York or something? like that, Brandon, that was last week that got on and said some stupid thing about how I looked and stuff, and I didn't really appreciate it, but you know. Um, so anyway, the police showed up at the fourplex. I was the first one to walk out the door of my apartment, and naturally, they took me into custody and put me in the back of a squad car. They searched the apartment complex, found out it was a false call, and nobody got shot, nobody got killed, and the police department apologized and said we just wanted to make sure that you realize what we were doing. And I said, listen, you guys were doing your job. You didn't mistreat me. You treated me with respect. You answered my questions when the time came. So that was the only time that I've ever been in the back of a police vehicle. And so my parents were very happy that, you know, I turned out the way that I did. I didn't turn out rich, but I'm not poor. I'm responsible because I went through what we should as humans, and that is to show that we're part of society, and if we can help, we will, with whatever we do, and that's the thing. Just give it time. Well, you know what? Here's the thing, Jackie, and I don't want people to come on here and start trouble because there's no reason for them to start trouble, because we're not going to make any trouble to anybody else. If somebody wants to come on here, like AZ, and I wish JoJo would show up. I love the music that JoJo does. Went to the channel and listened to some of the tunes, and JoJo is very good at what, and I believe JoJo is female. Correct me if I'm wrong, chat, but I believe JoJo is female. Am I wrong? Or hopefully. But I love music. Love music. I love playing video games. And I want to hear things from you guys also about how your lives are going and what interesting things that you guys have done. So if you guys want to come up and talk about anything about, hey, listen, was it a good idea if you know, they made cell phones? If you want to get up and say, was it good? Was it bad? And you want to discuss it, that's fine. Because I'm willing to listen to everybody and everything if they have something interesting to say. This channel is not going to be for everyone. I know that for a fact. Oh, she's modding for, okay. All right. Well, that's good. That's good. And she is female. Okay. I thought so. I thought MLH had said something about her being female, but believe it or not, folks, I know some of the people are, you're going to go, oh man, why do you want that disgusting person up on your channel? You know, I had a confrontation with the individual that no longer is associated with, I won't mention somebody's name, and so they're just doing their music, and AZ is the person that I guess isn't doing well with Man Bear Pig. So I'm sorry, I said we weren't going to go there, so let's, you know. But anyway, AZ does music also. I don't know if anybody's listened to some of this. Denise has been there and she's heard his music. And I love it that people get into music. Music is a universal language. It doesn't matter what country you're from. If you can express feelings and desires and aspirations about your life and the world and everything else, it's so cool to do it with music. And some of the music nowadays offends people. I don't think that music needs to have a swear word every fourth word. I think it can be done without it. It has before. It's funny. Yes, I know, Chris, and it was disgusting. I agree, but if the one thing, people, we are all going to have opinions about the world and life in general, and that doesn't mean that we're right. It doesn't mean we're wrong. It's just the way that we feel ourselves about certain things, and you can be changed, or you can be convinced, or you can be oh gosh, what's the word I want to say? You can be told the other stories that you didn't hear about a particular subject, and it could change your mind. You could have a change of heart, so to speak. Yeah, I don't think, I have my opinions. I've got personally nothing against Kenny. He did say some things. That's the thing. And I want to ask you people, the things that are said on YouTube, do you believe that all of those things that are being said necessarily have to be said? I mean, I know people are very emphatic when they get upset and they want to express themselves, and the only way that they can express themselves is to be vulgar more than the person who was vulgar toward them. But yes, Chris, and that's great. That's super. I've been playing bass since. Chris, would you like to come up on the panel? I would love to have you up here and tell people how you were when you were in a band. If you want to, you're more than welcome. No, Jackie, no. It's not that I would want. If it was for music and music only, because we all, like I said, we all have our opinions on things, and it's not because we're human, we're not all going to agree 100% on things. The thing to do is to find the common denominator that everyone agrees that is a good thing to talk about, because there's so many things nowadays that people disagree with, and it's hard to find that common denominator. And music is one of those things that I use to have a common denominator with people who love music. It's something you can sit down and talk about and express how you feel about it, and what entices you inside to do what you do with music. What are your aspirations? What are your thoughts about music when you do music and you put the words into it that you feel that comes from your inner self, and that you might think that other people might want to listen to. But Chris, if you want to come up on the yeah, well, I didn't have that luxury. I ended up, Chris, I ended up being the front guy for the band, and had to do a lot of the lead singing, but the guitar player also did some lead singing. But I think the majority of the tunes I was, doing. There were some songs that my voice, even though I could hit the notes, just did not sound right. It sounded like Tiny Tim doing Tiptoe Through the Tulips. You know, it knew the words, but it just did not sound right. um, you know what, Chris? I think a lot of people are hoping that that happens, but I don't hate the guy. I dislike him very much because he's not what I call uh, the same as the rest of us, where we use our human qualities by using empathy and common sense and stuff like that. So, yeah, well, you know, that's the thing, people. We didn't we didn't start whatever that person started. It was all on their own. And but anyway, um, I'm hoping we don't have the trolls that come up and do something foolish by saying things, because I don't hate everybody, you know, that's on YouTube, or I should say, have a hate for people on YouTube. It's just some of the things I just don't agree with them, and I don't go to their channels. But when it comes to music, I don't know what it is, but music has always done something to me inside. It makes you feel good. And very few things in this world nowadays makes a person feel good. And I think you guys would probably agree with that. So do we have anybody that wants to get up on panel and talk about something? Because I'm sitting up here just yapping away, and I don't want to be totally boring. I mean, if you want, I could get a book and read a book to you, but no, that's nasty. I shouldn't even say that. Um, so let me ask you guys, how many people have an interest in all styles of music? I mean, if there's a type of music that you would prefer not to hear, what would that music be? Is there something that you would not want to hear on the radio, or somebody playing it in their house if you go visit? What's the one thing that you guys think that is probably not music in your eye, you know, in yourself when you hear it? And I want to hear what you people have to say. Let's see. Opera. Well, you know, Yankee, I've heard some opera, and I've seen like the Phantom of the Opera. I've never got to see the show. My parents did. They saw it 5 different times. And it was one of those things that I listened to the music and heard the story of what was being told about someone who was disfigured and had a love for a person, that it was sort of like, well, I'm going to take this person and I'm going to keep them locked up in a room, basically, and they'll be mine and nobody else's, and they'll learn to love me, and blah blah blah. But yeah, I guess opera is not for everybody. I can listen to it for so long and then I have to stop. I used to watch musicals. I used to watch like West Side Story. I liked that because it had a plot. And then I watched um, what was the other one? Music Man. These I saw on TV, so it was it was entertaining because you got to see uh, the stars of the show up close rather than to sit way in the back and not know who's singing and who's saying what. And um, but yes, it is uh, Buttercup. It is good vocal training. Um, I don't sing vocal opera, but and I guess I tried one time and realized that oh, I didn't have the heart or the feeling for it. And the thing that you have to do is when you sing, you have to immerse yourself in the notes and the words and the genre that you're doing in order for you to actually feel what what you should be feeling when you're singing it. I don't know, Chris. Did you do much singing behind the drums, or were you just yeah, it was more Broadway than opera. Opera, when you what was the heavyset guy's name uh that was Italian? Um gosh, Giovanni? Was that his name? Am I mostly played, not sing? Did you do any harmonizing at all? Oh, Pavarotti. Yes. Yes, 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 yes. Pavarotti. Um, I watched him several times. The man had just so much control over his voice. There is a Filipino man, and I'm trying to think of his name. He got on America's Got Talent, and he sang the male and female part of a song. And it's unbelievable how much he sounded like a woman when he was singing. And people, they were just astonished that that sound came out of that guy. He had that much control. And I can't remember his name. He's a Filipino guy, but you don't hear much of him anymore. I don't know what happened to him, but um, house trance. Um, you know, it's really funny uh, when you say that, Buttercup, because when as I was growing up, there was they used to make fun. There was country, and there was western, and then there was country western, and people used to laugh every time somebody would say that. But there is a difference between country and western, and country western, and western swing, and country rock. Now I mean, it's expanded in all directions. Uh, yeah, Panetta. That's it. Yep, yep, yep. And no, 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 not that one. Not that one. Not the one that sings for uh, Journey. He doesn't sing for anybody, but he is really, really interesting. I should look it up, and the next time that we get together, I'll bring it up, and you guys can hear. Um, and I could play it because I'm not monetized anyway. So, but yeah, there are some real good, a lot of singers that were actors, and a lot of people who were on Broadway that went to acting. And was it Rosemary Clooney, George Clooney's mother? George never, believe it or not, when George Clooney did, if I sneeze here, I'm sorry. Just a minute. Going to end up sneezing here for some reason. George Clooney, when he did Brother, Where Art Thou? He did not sing in that movie, even though he looked like he was, but he did not sing in that movie. And I was really shocked that having a mother like Rosemary Clooney being his mother, that he would have had some of that music born into him, but evidently he didn't. Let's see. So I'm going to, did anybody, okay, opera was one of those things that people never knew that about George. Yes, George Clooney. Oh, yes, Rosemary was fantastic. But her son does not sing. I'm trying to think how old Rosemary was when she had George. There's a lot of famous actors that their parents were singers and actors on Broadway, and it's amazing if you sit down. I used to have so many books of generations of people who were born into the music industry after their parents and grandparents were in it for such a long time. I'm trying to think of, oh gosh, now I'm trying to think. It's hard for me to do that. Once in a while I get a headache from thinking so much. But anyway, does everybody or does anybody remember the transistor radio? When it was not a boombox, it was just a transistor radio, a hold in your one hand type thing that had just AM and FM, but not stereo. Does anybody remember those? Yep. I remember getting my first AM FM radio, and it was unbelievable that they took FM and made it into stereo. Hey, you know what, Southern Yankee? You're as old as you think you are. Not feel, think you are. I think that I want to stay young. I know my body and my brain have a big argument. My brain says, you know what I want to do? I want to go skiing again. I want to get on those fiberglass. Well, actually, when I went and learned how to ski, it was, yeah, there were fiberglass skis then, but my first pair of snow skis was like a wooden core with an outside, a real hard acrylic outside. But my body says, "You do that, and I'm going to hurt you. You're an idiot. Don't think like that." But my brain keeps saying, "No, come on, let's do it. It's been a long time." Um, I remember the radios. I remember the first TVs that came out. My father worked for General Telephone, and General Telephone owned Sylvania televisions at one time. And yes, I had an 8-track in my 55, Chris, and I loved it. It was so cool. You just put in the tape and listen to the 4 songs on one track, and then you hit another track and you'd get some more songs on the other side. Oh God, that was so cool. So cool. Those were the good days. And nobody had a bass a bass speaker in their car. It was the kind that mounted under the flat part in the rear window, and you put the speakers facing up and it would bounce off the window and come forward, and you would get that bass resonance from your trunk. Basically, we never really had the subwoofers in our vehicles. It was all just 2 speakers, and then it got to 4 speakers, 2 up in the front door panels, and then 2 in the back facing upward toward the window. And that was what we had for sound system. And then after the 4-track came the 8-track, and then there was the cassette. And the cassettes were really popular back then, because you'd have all of your music. It was a 60-minute tape, but they didn't tell you that it was only 30 minutes one way and 30 minutes the other way. That's how they got the 60 minutes worth of music. It was actually 4 tracks. You recorded stereo on one half, and then it went the opposite direction, because you'd have to take the tape and flip it over and start the other side. Or if you wanted to get to a song, you'd have to write the numbers down on the cassette so you could watch the counter until it got to the point where you wanted that song to be, and then you could play it. But not everybody's cassette player worked the same way. So you might be off maybe a half a song or something when you listen to it in somebody's vehicle or in their house. Yeah, first stereo that I had bought was it had an 8-track built into it, and I had to add a cassette player that was with that. Oh, hang on here. It looks like we have someone that wants to come up. And Brandon,
That's
sir.
good, man.
Hey, glad to have you up here. How are you doing, sir?
Pretty good. Just laying in bed, just because I know I gotta get up at midnight Central Time to start
Oh
heading your
no.
way.
Oh
I
no.
gotta
And
be I gotta be up in Vegas and on Monday. So
ooh. So
yeah.
I'm glad you made it up here, buddy. How's the roads been? Have they been pretty good?
So far, yeah, not too bad. I'm sitting. I think I'm in Arkansas. Yeah, I'm in
Uh-huh.
Arkansas. I had to sit there and think what state I'm in. I started off in like 20 minutes outside of DC this morning, and
Oh,
I made it to Arkansas before
wow.
I had to shut down. So
Yeah. Yeah, Yankee, it was really cool when when I remember taking my cassette and it had the RCA plugs in the back of the recorder, it really didn't have speakers. It was just part of the system that you would plug. You had 2 ins and 2 outs, and you would hook them up into the back of your stereo, and you could record music off the radio, which was really cool because there was no people talking in the background and somebody saying, shh, 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 I'm recording. Don't say anything, you know. Um, yeah, that was fun. Do you remember those well, I shouldn't say that, Brandon, you're not that old.
I remember cassettes. I remember my sister had we called it a little. She had a little pink baby boombox that she recorded
Oh yeah.
on like, cassette tapes back. Oh man, it was probably when did Hurricane Andrew hit the United States? Back in '87.
Who was that?
I'm trying to think. Hurricane Andrew. Uh, yeah, that when Hurricane Andrew hit the United States is when my sister got her first cassette
Uh,
boombox.
oh gosh.
And I'm trying to think that was like 86, 87. So I remember that back back then.
You know, it's really funny you mention that because we have the boom boxes, but if you were someone who was African American or from the South and you carried it up on your shoulder, it wasn't considered a boom box. It was called a ghetto blaster.
Oh, really?
Yes, yes. Does everybody remember that when that happened? The ghetto blasters. Um, it was just, a boombox was not the word that the African American people would actually they didn't really like the terminology. Ghetto blaster was much better,
Uh,
much better. Yeah,
I'm
yep.
not that old. Yeah,
Uh, yeah.
I remember bits and pieces, or I remember a lot of the late '80s because I was born in '82.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so I remember a good portion of the '80s, but like
Uh-huh.
certain parts of it, and like I can't believe I was reading on Facebook. Uh, thir- 35 years ago, what's his name? Vanilla Ice came out with Ice Ice Baby,
Oh yeah.
and
Yeah.
that was I couldn't believe that. I was like, man, I wasn't that young when that song came out, but then I realized, yeah, I really was that young.
Yeah, you don't realize how you are. We don't use old here because we know we're old, so we're just getting er. Um, but yeah, I can remember some of the groups that I listened to, like Dave Clark Five and gosh, Paul Revere and the Raiders, and all of those people way back. The uh, the Chiffons. Gosh, there was so much music, and it was not uncommon to see a lot of people standing on street corners and doing a 4-piece singing harmonization of some of the songs that were popular on the radio. And some of
Yeah,
the people would stand there and sing, and they had a can, and people would go by and throw money in the can. No music whatsoever. It was all a cappella. And some of those people were just, I mean, really, really, really good. And the music was just, um, it was something that you would sit there and tap your foot to. It didn't matter what what generation it came from or whatever. The way that they sang it, it was just unbelievable to have that harmony, uh, to be able to listen to some of that music. It was just, you could sit there all day and listen to them, but they would only play for so long, and then they would go to a different corner, maybe 4 or 5 blocks away, and then they'd start singing again. So, but it was really, really cool. Really cool. So Chris, the drum set that you had, that were you like a, let me see, hi-hat, 2 rides, 2 toms on the bass, a floor tom, and a snare? Is that what you typically used for a drum set when you first started? We'll see what he says. Because I remember the first bass guitar that I had was a hollow body Harmony bass guitar that I got from my parents for my graduation present, and they bought me a small bass amp, and that was really, really, really neat.
That's cool.
I'm sorry, what?
That's cool. I did.
Yeah.
I've seen one back in the early 2000s like that. A friend of mine got one, and he never played it. I think he was scared to play something like that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, that's something like what I was thinking, Chris. People had a little bit of different type setups and stuff, but it basically, what I said was kind of what you had. Yeah. What was the name of the cymbal that had that support that sat in the middle, but it went down? It was like 2 extensions that went down on the bell, I think it was, or was it the bell, or did it go on the? Oh gosh, I can't even remember the parts of a cymbal now. Wasn't the bell? Come on, help me out, Chris. What was the flat part of a cymbal? The bell was the top part closest to the center support, where you had the felt and you had the screw that came on the top, the wing nut. What was the flat part called? Do you remember? Let's tax Chris's mind and see what happens. Buttercup, were you ever in a band? Or anybody else in a band that they enjoyed doing? Did you see the bird that I had up there, Brandon?
No.
Yeah. If you look, I don't know, you can see the white bird. Oh, you can't see it. Okay.
Yeah, I can't see it.
Okay. Well, that's Toby. That's the one that makes all the noise every time that I got on Disaster Piece Theater.
Yeah.
Yeah. Constantly. And I'd have to take him and put him in a smaller cage and take him into the other room and shut the door because he wouldn't. He was jealous. He didn't like me being on the computer because I was diverting my attention to something else other than him. Oh gosh, never in a band, huh? There's really no name for the regular center. Yeah,
like
right. The bell. Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead, Brandon.
Okay, I was gonna say I'm surprised my 2 dogs haven't started like barking yet because I'm not back there laying down with them. They get mad if I'm like sitting up front or front of my truck or outside. They start barking at me, tell me to get back in the truck.
Gosh, I'm jumping back and forth here. Um, I know they had a support that went from the center and it went out both edges, and it had metal on it, and it rested on the flat part of the cymbal. So when you hit it on the edge, that it would vibrate that metal of those two things that suspended out onto the flat part, almost like taking the cymbal and drilling holes all the way around and putting divot or rivets in there, really loose rivets. We had a drummer that did that before they even came out with that cymbal that you could buy that had those little deals in there. Yeah, right, right. That was it. Uh, Now I played polka music. I played. Uh, there's one guy that I really, really like, who is just a phenomenal guitar player, and he is popular still, and I think he's always on tour, and that's Billy Strings. You've heard of him, haven't you, Brandon?
Yeah.
Yeah, great guitar player. He learned from his father, and he just real good voice, and man, that guy could pick. Chet Atkins, I think he was a big influence on Billy Strings, also. But Chet Atkins, I mean, you want to talk about the father of guitars? That guy was really, really a good picker.
I,
Um,
I know, like talking talking about different genre of music, Slash from Guns N' Roses. I think he's pretty good.
yeah, yeah, he's a good guitar player. But there's different styles of lead guitar playing. Um, it depended on the genre of music that you were playing. When you got a lot of country, I knew some people who would use their fingernails. The guitar player we had in our band, or one of the bands that I was in, he had longer than normal fingernails, and he would use his fingernails for picking on his guitar. And the way that he used his whammy bar, it was just, he could make it sound like a regular pedal steel guitar. I mean, he was so good at it, very good, and people
That's
liked the liked the way that he did that. I was so lucky to grow up with that musical background. It's a lot of people um, didn't get the opportunity to do that, and I got to do it as a job, a real job. That's what I did. I got up in front of people, sang, and we did songs. We mainly did cover tunes, and we just our objective was to do what the bartender wanted and make people dance. Um, and as long as we sounded good and they liked the music, and they got up and danced, that made them sweat and made them hot. And that's what the bar owner and bartenders wanted, was those people wanting fluids to cool them off and make them feel good. And they ended up drinking more because when they were dancing, they were working a lot of that alcohol out of their system.
yeah. I remember when I used to go to clubs. Man, I this was it's been a while. I used to drink like a fish, man, and I'd people would think that I'd be drunk by the end of the night, but I was
Yeah,
never drunk. I might have been drunk, but I didn't. I don't think I had that much alcohol in me because I sweated it all out.
yeah. Oh, Chris, I should. that's what I should do. I'm trying to decide whether or not I want to invest more money and get something that I can use sound. I mean, I could probably come up with some kind of sound effect that I could set next to my phone and play it. Or I could sit here. Here, I don't know if this table will work. That was terrible. Oh, I don't know. Could you hear that, Brandon?
Yeah.
Yeah. You like that ping? That was my coffee cup. It's my Stanley stainless.
I need to
Oh,
get me one of those for my truck.
oh, I tell you what, when I pour coffee in this, it's 16 ounces, and I can leave the top off. And I started over. Well, I started what? How long have we been going here? An hour. And my coffee in my coffee cup, I've got still 3/4 of a cup, and it's hot.
Wow.
Still hot.
Yeah, I need to get me one. Because I go to a lot of Pilots and Flying J's truck stops, and coffee is expensive now. I think it's like up to $4 or $5 for the coffee at a truck stop. And after a while, it gets cold at about 45 minutes down the road. It seems like it gets cold.
Thank you, Southern Yankee. I appreciate that. Yeah, that was my coffee cup that I used my fingernail against.
That's
Sounded
cool.
like one of those. What do they call them? The little gongs. There was a name for it that the Chinese would use when they were trying to do a performance up on the stage. Instead of a triangle, they used their little gongs and stuff. And that was funny. Yeah. Um, anyway, I don't know. Is anybody having any real bad weather where they're at right now? Is it been pretty good? Anybody caught in a snowstorm or? Brandon, I know you're always in a snowstorm somewhere.
Yeah, if it's not raining, it's snowing. It seems
Yeah,
like.
yeah.
I know it's from what I've seen on a couple of the trucking apps that I have for
Hmm.
weather. It's supposed to be getting bad like around the Dakotas Saturday or Sunday.
Oh
And
wow.
it's supposed to hit the East Coast by Monday, I think,
Ah.
from what they're showing.
Well, I tell you
So,
what, people. If you get, and I don't have your website. I should, I guess, try to get that. If you people plan on going traveling through certain states and you want to know what the weather's like, um, get a hold of a trucker like Brandon, and they can tell you exactly how the roads are. Because in a truck, it's so much different than being in a four wheel. And if it gets bad, they can tell you. If they can't do anything in the big truck, then you know damn well it's going to be bad.
oh yeah, like if you see if you see truck drivers pulling over,
Yep.
you're going. That's a sign to say, "Hey, sorry for my French when I say this. That means get your ass off the fucking road."
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
That's
Exactly.
the best way to put it. Because especially going across Wyoming, Colorado, and Idaho,
Uh-huh.
those are the three worst states that I've ever driven through. If you
Wow.
see us pulling over, yeah, you need to pull over.
Yeah. I used to drive in some real hellacious snow going up from Madison, Wisconsin, up to Duluth, Minnesota in the winter times, and oh, that was fun. Well, actually, it wasn't fun. It was nerve wracking. Oh, okay. You got it right there. There you go, folks. If you want to take that that website down for Brandon, and you want to watch his show, his channel, I should say, not show, uh, you're more than welcome to go and pay him and sub up to him. He needs more subbers. I think I've got 5 watching, and you know what? It's sort of cool because I can address everybody in the chat. You know, when you have so many people, you try to keep up with chat, and you try to, you know, I know MLH has a heck of a time trying to keep up with everyone that gets on, but I like this is sort of like inviting the people over into your living room and sitting down and just having a good conversation just about whatever comes up, as long as it's not having to deal with what normally we have to deal with, like tomorrow. It's a sort of like a breath of fresh air, you know. Let the other people worry about the ones who are doing the bad things. I mean, it's not that we're not concerned about it, but for this 2 hours talking about music, I don't know about anybody else, but I'm having more fun talking about music, and me not being able to play the drums on my table and not having a cymbal. But it's nice to just get away from it for a while. I don't know about you, Brandon, but to me, it's nice to just talk about other things.
Oh yeah. And
Cinderella.
talking about what Chris on the drums said about living in the South. I know that very well, man. I'm from Southeast North Carolina, right there at the southern part of North Carolina, almost to South Carolina. It never snows, but I'm 43 and it snowed 6 times my whole life. And
Wow.
how I learned how to drive in the snow was I was throwing keys to a semi and said, "Go have fun up in upstate New York in the blizzard."
Yeah.
That's how I learned how to drive in snow.
Cinderella, thank you for showing up. We're just sitting around having a good conversation about whatever comes up. And if you have something that you want to say, I was really, really happy that Riddle came up and got on this chat on the panel just for a little bit, because I never talked to Riddle before, and I don't think Riddle is one of those people that will go up on a panel. But it's good that she came up and said a few things, and other than that one thing that happened last week, Brandon, it's been pretty good. And
Yeah.
and this is the way I want it. I want to invite people in. If they lurk and listen, they'll realize that it's not the same stuff that usually goes on. We don't have a lot of drama here, and that's so nice. I think you heard me say welcome, Cinderella. I'm not sure if you did, but if anybody else wants to come up on panel, they want to talk about something, something that they have on their chest that's bothering them, as far as whether to get beige or aqua colored drapes in their bathroom, hey, come on up and we'll discuss it and see if we can come up with a solution for you. I know that's sort of ridiculous, but you wouldn't believe how many people will go into their bathroom, of all the rooms to go into, and have such a hard time figuring out what colors to put in a bathroom. Has anybody ever run into that?
I would say I ran into that problem, but my bathroom came stock with it to my truck, so I can't remodel it. So
Hey, I have seen some of those cabs on those big big Freightliners that are just, I mean, they're huge, just huge. I mean, when you get bunk beds in there and they're both queen size, that's big.
Yeah, like mine had mine's uh mine's what I consider a baby size, but mine's the baby size of the super sleepers, like the big sleepers, the huge ones that have like the bed, the kitchen, and shower and toilet in it.
Oh wow.
And they make them all the way up to I think the biggest one I've seen is like a 195-inch sleeper. And
Dang.
yeah, these things,
That's
these size sleepers are not cheap.
yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's really funny, Buttercup. I did see one that had two queen size bunk beds in it. And that
Yeah,
was for people who were really serious about, they were husbands and wives, and they were like two couples that drove truck. And I think they probably never really had much downtime other than getting fuel and emptying the the tank, the gray tank on their trailer or on their sleeper.
yeah. That like I'm a solo driver, and the only downtime I get is basically sleeping at a truck stop.
Yep.
And like I don't, I quit going into truck stops to take showers just because mine has a shower in it.
Well,
But
nowadays it's really, I mean, you never know who's going to be in there, you know?
yeah, well, that in the truck stops they got individual shower rooms and stuff for everybody,
Oh,
but they're so expensive now. I think the
oh,
cheapest place I found was $15 for a shower, and
man.
I think and that was at a mom and pop truck stop,
Wow.
and
Huh?
the pilots, Flying J's, Loves, Petros, and TAs, they're like 20. Yeah, they're $20 a shower.
Wow.
So
Huh.
I was, for me, it was it's cheaper for me to have a shower in my truck,
Uh-huh.
even though I pay $10 to dump my sewer, my
Uh-huh.
RV. I call it an
Right.
RV sewer, but it's the same
Yeah.
concept.
Right, right,
But
right.
it's I pay $10 to dump it every week, and I can get 4 showers out of my water tank.
Wow.
So that's $10 a week that I'm I'm saving for a shower.
Wow. Yeah, I never had that problem of I was usually just a day hauler, and I'd go 12 hours at the most, and that was it. And I was interstate, no, intrastate. That's where you don't have to have a log, right? Intrastate.
Yeah,
Yeah, interstate, you have to have the logbook.
yeah,
And I knew so many people that had two different books, one that they originally had that they had to fill out for work. And then there was the one that they had to have for the chicken coop when they pulled in.
yeah. And
Do they, let me ask
they
you, the way stations, do they still call them chicken coops, or do they call them just scale house now?
they still call them chicken coops.
Do they?
Yeah,
Huh.
and I very rarely get called into them because I haul uh, fairly light stuff. Like right now, I got 2 pallets in my trailer, and they're together. They're like 250 pounds.
Uh-huh.
But I can only hold. I can haul up to 35,000 pounds with with the size truck I have,
Uh-huh.
and that will put me right at 80,000.
Yeah. Now, Chris was just asking how much time do they give you at a Flying J pilot or what's the
Loves
other one? Yeah.
loves maybe an hour, if that. Maybe they might let you do like an hour and 15, but if you go over like an hour and 15 minutes, they'll come and knock on the door to see if you're okay.
Yeah.
Because I was at a truck stop one time and a guy actually died in the shower room.
Oh,
Yeah, he had a massive heart attack, and
hmm. That's too
and
bad.
yeah, and he was in there for about 2 hours when they realized that he was dead.
You know, that's one thing that you hardly ever hear is that somebody's behind the wheel and they have a massive heart attack and end up having an accident, and that's what kills them was the accident.
Yeah,
And
well,
they
well,
don't do a full autopsy to see if it was them falling asleep, because of a narcolepsy, or whether it was, I think that's the correct terminology, isn't it? Narcolepsy? When
I,
somebody,
I guess so. I don't even know. But
maybe some of the people on the chat can tell me, did I get that right? I think it's narcolepsy. Narcolepsy? I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it right, but
I know
uh,
a friend of mine, or he was an old co-driver of mine, and he was driving a truck one day, and he was on the phone with his fiance, and he was sitting at a stoplight and had a heart attack and got in a wreck
oh,
right
oh,
there. But he was dead before he ever hit that other car.
right. Yeah, that's what I'm
And
talking about, Chris. Is when you have no control over your sleep, it just hits you, and you 1 minute you're awake and the next minute you're asleep. Um, I know that there are probably some drivers out there that shouldn't be driving that have that disorder, and it just, you know, it's not that they're fatigued. It's just they just fall asleep because of that disorder. And I've never really heard too much about people having that disorder and getting into an accident, uh, because nobody really does. They check for drugs to see if they've been drinking or if they've been uh, doing the drugs, Brandon. But I've never heard of anybody looking back in their medical history to see if they even had or even reported narcolepsy.
um, I'm not. I know that they do a really deep physical every 2 years on CDL holders, but
Right.
I don't know like how they test for narcolepsy.
I don't think there's a real. Twila, glad to see you. Uh, wait a minute. What's this, Brandon? Brandon
Yeah,
talked about neck measurement during the physical.
yeah,
Yes, there is.
they do
Yeah,
do that,
yeah.
and they they make you use a cup when they
Uh-huh.
test your sugar that way.
Right, right.
Um,
I know people with diabetes, they have to be under strict regulations.
yeah,
Uh,
like with me, like I have to show them my medicine. I didn't even know I was diabetic until a year ago.
oh, really? Now
Yeah,
you're just now. Are you needle? Are you two or
no,
what are?
I take it starts with I forgot what it starts with. It starts with it's a pill form because
Uh-huh.
DOT will not let you be on a pump
Right,
or take shots.
right, right.
It, but they you're allowed to take the pill form,
Uh-huh.
but and with that, like they give you a one. If you're a diabetic type, they won't let you be a type 1, but they will allow you to be a type 2 diabetic,
Hmm.
and they require you to get a 1 year physical every year if you're a
Right,
type 2 diabetic
right, right.
instead of the
And
standard 2 years.
yeah, and if you have high blood pressure, you are required every year to take a physical because I had high blood pressure in the later part of my driving. It used to be that when I was driving bus, I had to every year go in because I was taking. Um, oh gosh, I'm trying to think of the name of it. Do 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 do. I can't think of the name of it right now. But it was for high blood pressure,
Yeah.
and I had to go in every year because of that. Uh, if you know, and that's the thing about getting is you start developing things like there is a diabetes that uh, older people get, and it doesn't necessarily mean that you come from a family that has diabetes. You can contract it, or it'll show up in your system. It's just the way that your body reacts to the sugars and stuff as you get older. Oh, ha, here I used it. Just getting I'll slip once in a while, people. Sorry about that. I don't mean to say that three-letter word that nobody wants to hear. Because we know we're there. We just keep getting on top of it. Uh, oh, do you really?
And like what Chris has said about
Yeah.
using a CPAP machine,
Uh-huh.
there's a lot of people that a lot of companies that won't hire you if you use a CPAP machine, but it's still you're still legally allowed to drive semis using a CPAP machine.
Right. We had some drivers with the bus company that were on CPAPs, and as long as they got their sleep and didn't show signs of stress when they were driving, that was fine. But then it was zero tolerance with us when it came to driving the bus. You could not have cough medicine in your system because when you get things like oh gosh, uh, the one cough syrup that is really advertised quite a bit. Uh, Gosh, I'm trying to think of
All,
the name of it.
all I can remember, of course, I'm showing my age too, is not Ricola, but Robitussin,
Yeah, there was another one that,
Dayquil, or
well, yeah,
Nyquil.
NyQuil is for colds and stuff. Yes, NyQuil contains quite a bit of alcohol in it. In fact, vanilla, cooking vanilla, would have a lot of alcohol in it. And I knew people who were alcoholics that if they couldn't get anything else, they would drink vanilla to try to
Wow.
get a buzz. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they were really, really desperate. Yeah. Robitussin is one of those things that you got to be careful with.
I remember I was in high school
Hmm.
and I was just coming off of being really, really sick, but I just had like a really bad everything was just like my sinuses were draining in my chest.
Hmm.
And I was still out of it still, and my parents, my dad had to go to work, so he was like, "Oh, let's just give him. I'll give him some Robitussin." So I was like, "Okay, I'll take it."
Hmm.
Like an hour later, my mom decided to give me not was it Vicks 44 something
Oh
44
yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and I was like, "Why are you giving me this?" Dad just gave me
Robitussin.
Robitussin. And she goes,
Uh-huh.
no, he didn't. Just take it. And I was like, okay. And she decided, oh, he's not coughing no more, and he's not sick, but he's still sick. Just go on to school. So I drove to school, and all I remember is sitting down, and I was drunker than I don't know what. She and I'm one of those lovey-dovey drunks. Whenever I
Uh-huh.
used to get drunk and stuff, I was sitting there hugging people and telling them how much I loved them and everything. And my principal comes in and goes, "Are you okay?" I was like, "I'm feeling high as a cloud right now."
Yeah.
Because and my school was one of those schools that was a second chance school
Uh-huh.
for kids that were kicked out of public schools.
Yeah. It was like an alternative school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she ended up calling my mom, asking her if I smoked any pot that day. And my mom goes, "No, he doesn't smoke pot." And she goes, "Well, your son is definitely drunk or something because he is not acting like himself." And she was like, "You're going to have to come and get him." So
Yeah.
she ended up coming. My mom had to come to school laughing her head off because she realized what happened. And she goes, "Well, crap happens."
Yeah.
And she had to drive me home because I couldn't drive home.
Huh. Yeah. The girlfriend just is now getting over shingles. And I don't know how many other people have been out there that have had shingles, but it's not fun. I had it on my back, and she is now getting over hers. She had it on her right side of her face, and it was real close to her eye. And we had to go in, the doctor, and well, actually, there were two doctors that took a scope, numbed her eye, put something in her eye to enlarge her pupil, and they looked in her eye to see if it had gotten onto her cornea, which I never thought that shingles could actually affect a person that way. And they
Yeah.
said, yeah, there are people who have had uh, lost their vision because of shingles going on their cornea. So she's didn't have it there. She is Southern Yankee. She's feeling a lot better right now. She's going through that scab stage where it's healing, and she's in a lot of pain. Um, she took some Tylenol, and she's been sleeping now for the last hour, but she's doing a lot better. Um, and she is, and as soon as she gets over it, then we're going to probably get her a shingles shot, uh, just so it won't be as bad as it has been, if she does catch it again. And they say you can catch shingles 2, 3 times if you are a candidate for it. Fortunately, I only had it one time. It was on my back on my left side, and I was driving bus in pain. It was like, I think I had explained this before, and I think Chris on the drums, I think, or was it you, Brandon? It's like taking your middle finger and putting your knuckle out and pushing it into someone's back really hard. It was almost, I think they called them a noogie.
Oh,
Do you?
yeah.
Yeah. Well, when you did that, it was, man, it hurt like crazy. Um, yeah, Cinderella, it's not fun. My adopted brother, who is autistic, he um, had shingles in his mouth, and it was just a disaster. because he lived with my parents. And he just was in so much pain and couldn't understand why his mouth hurt. And even though they tried to tell him, you have shingles and it's left over from the chicken pox virus, and it just pops out when it wants. And he just happened to get it in his mouth, and he was just in so much pain. But he managed to get through it. But yeah, I don't wish shingles on anyone. It's not fun.
I
Not
didn't
fun at
even
all.
I didn't even know they made shots for shingles.
Oh yeah, yeah. Uh, and they're encouraging the older people to get it because they're finding out that it is more severe because of uh, the way that the older people's immune system works. As you get your system doesn't fight off colds and headaches and stuff like that as easy as it was unless you've got migraines, and then there's, no matter what age you are, migraines is not a fun thing. Fortunately, I've only had like 2 migraines in my life, and I think that contributed to me when I was younger drinking too much. But I don't do that now, so I haven't had any migraines. So
Yeah,
yeah.
and I just learned not too long ago that they make shots for chicken pox, and my mom actually told me that. And I was just like, wait, so all those times that y'all sent us over to people's houses that had their kids had chicken pox, we could have prevented that with a shot.
Well, actually, there is, whatever they say about this is going to prevent you from getting this and that, that's not entirely true. What it does with all vaccines, and I found this out from some people who work way up on the ladder, and they know all there is to know about vaccines and stuff. It doesn't prevent you from getting it. What it does is it helps it so if you do get it, it's not as severe, because there are people who their immune system is so bad that if they catch cold, it's like uh, an older person getting pneumonia. It's
Oh,
very, very, very bad. Very, very bad. So,
well, I
um,
kind of figured that, like with like I I'll admit I'm not vaccinated for COVID, but my
mhm,
sister is,
yeah.
and it's just like her husband, and I got an uncle they've all gotten their vaccine
They're shot.
shot for COVID,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
and they've all gotten COVID, and I'm sitting here going, why would
Yeah.
I get the shot if I know I'm going to get it? And here it is, 5 6 years after COVID, and I still haven't gotten it, and it's just
Mhm.
like, uh, and not to be funny, it's just like maybe I should get the COVID shot so I could get COVID, just so I can go ahead and get it over with. You know what I'm saying?
Well, there is a way to go in, and my sister, God bless her, she's the baby of the family. She's in her 60s. She is on a machine that keeps her heart pumping blood.
Yeah.
And she's been on it for 5 years. She was a recipient for a heart, found out that her kidney is bad. So they were going to do a kidney transplant. And they she would have had to have had her heart transplant and a kidney transplant done at the same time. Now, I don't know if anybody knows anyone who's had a heart transplant or an organ transplant. But what they and I was explained by my sister, from my sister to me, about what happens when they do. They have to purposely take your antibodies in your system and bring them down to where you have no defense against germs or anything. Because when you receive an organ from another person, the chances of them being rejected, if your antibodies are high, are greater to reject the organ. So her antibodies had to come down to just about, I can't remember what the level was and how they measured it, but she had to have it down so far, and was reading up on the what is it called when the rate, they measure the rate of mortality. I think it's just the mortality rate, where people get an operation and they decide whether or not they can survive. But she found out that it was very low for having two operations at the same time like that, especially with the kidney and the heart. So my sister decided that, and not only that, but she decided that she, at her age, even though she was in line to get a heart, she gave up her spot for another person, and that other person was younger, maybe in their 30s, I believe, and gave her spot up to the girl and helped her get a new heart. And my sister is still on the machine, and she says when they come up with something better, then she'll go for it. But she figured, why would I waste a good heart on myself when I'm that old, than somebody who needs a heart waiting for one, who has no choice in the matter, that they need a good heart. So she opted out, and she's still on the machine, and she's just waiting for them to come up with a better method of making her life longer. So she has to run around with 4 or 5 batteries and this machine, and if the machine goes off, she has like 2 minutes before there'll be brain damage, because her heart won't be pumping blood up into her brain. So, but anyway, she she made that decision, which I thought was really one of those things that, we learned to do a lot of things for people because of my parents and the way that they brought us up. Always giving, giving, giving. My father was such a giving man. He worked with the Special Olympics for 35 years. He was one here in Snohomish County that started the Special Olympics, and he had over 300 athletes at one time. And he was able to go to go back to Washington, D.C. He got a letter from Eunice Shriver, personally wrote, not typed, wrote to my dad, and invited him and, the family, which was at the time my sisters and brother, and my adopted brother, who is autistic, who was in Special Olympics, to Washington, D.C., and got to meet Eunice Shriver, who started the Special Olympics in the United States. And she was part of the Kennedy clan. They got to meet Teddy and Bobby Kennedy before they were assassinated. They got to meet Maria Shriver, who was married to Arnold at the time. And it was really I wish I could find the article. My brother has it at the house, where they were flown on a private jet to Washington D.C. and to got to do all this stuff because the way that my father was, always giving, never expected anything in return. So I think that's where we learned it a lot. And my sister gave up her spot because she knew that there's the person was in their 30s and then they were waiting for a heart, and she said, well, I'm going to give her my spot. And they agreed. And I'm not sure if the girl had gotten a heart yet. I'd have to check, but she wanted to make sure that her life was going to be long, so she took herself out of the spot, which was very, very cool for my sister to do, because she knows that her heart can still fail, even with this machine. So anyway, back to something positive. What were we talking about? Oh, the immune system. That's how I found out about the immune system, and everybody's immune system is different. I mean, there's pills for you to help your immune system. There's some people whose immune system is, I don't know if it's hyper or whatever. There's a word for it, and if somebody can help me.
I know they make medicine for like ADHD.
Yeah.
Trust me, that it works because I got it. Because as a kid, I was all over the place, and
Yeah.
that was the only way for me to sit down. Like my parents tried everything; they used to whoop my butt, everything, but I couldn't sit still.
Yeah.
And so one of my teachers suggested I get tested for it. There's actually a test for being ADD. Who knew about that?
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Yeah. Go
and
ahead. Yeah.
to this day, like I haven't been on my ADD medicine for the last 13 years,
Uh-huh.
and it's very hard for me to sit still, especially driving 11 hours a day.
Right. Right.
And man, it's still I learned from a school place that I went to school at to get my CDL. The owner of the company, she goes, my husband
Hmm.
has ADD, and she goes, or ADHD, and she goes, eight people with ADHD make the best truck drivers because they're always looking all over the place,
Hmm.
and they teach you whenever you get your CDL, always don't focus on one thing when you driving trucks. You gotta constantly be scanning all over the place.
Oh yeah. Yeah. You cannot be daydreaming as you're going down the road, because in a split second, if you're around any traffic at all, even animals that come out of the woods, or some farmer's pig that got out, or cow that's running across the free field, that if you don't notice it, and all of a sudden it decides that it's just going to cross the road right in front of your vehicle, can be a disaster.
Yeah.
So yeah, I never got the shots. I've never. I mean, I remember in school when, and I can't remember the name of what it was called. It was, I think it was for the measles, but I still ended up getting the chicken pox and the measles. I had one right after the other. And it was like I was done with the chicken pox, and the day after I had done the chicken pox, I ended up getting the measles. And so I was down still in bed, but I got them done and over with at the same time. Um, but I haven't had the shots. I haven't had a flu shot or anything. And my system, I've gotten the flu, and it's gotten to the point now my immune system is is really working good because I get one cold a year, and that's it. At the end of summer, and I don't know what it is, but I only get one cold per year, and it's usually 4 to 5 days, and that's it.
Yeah.
And the reason, go ahead.
Yeah, like with me, like I haven't been sick in probably 6 7 years, and but when I do get sick, it's one of those I'm down for the count for a couple of days,
Yeah, yeah,
and it's usually my sinuses because of the allergies, especially in the south or in the southeast with all the pollen and stuff. And that's why I usually try to stay away from the East Coast during the springtime because I don't want to. I hate having my sinuses get me all jacked up and stuff.
right. Yeah, I don't know about anybody else, but man, when I sleep, I am a nose breather. My mouth is completely shut, and I've always been that way ever since I was a baby. I my never had any snoring problems, but now I'm getting if I lay on my side, um, I find myself, I don't think I snore, but other people have said that I get loud with my breathing. It isn't necessarily snoring, it's just I take really deep breaths when I sleep. And because of that, I slow down my respiratory rate. So I get a real good sleep, but it's just my deep breathing that irritates people. Um, so, but yeah, I'm a nose breather. I don't know about anybody else, but man, if I have a plugged up nostril, I have to use nose spray, a 12-hour nose spray and a decongestant to open up my nose because I will not get any sleep at all if I can't breathe through my nose. I don't know about anybody else. Is anybody else like that or not?
I my parents have said in the last probably 12 years I've started snoring, but I'm so used to not sleeping in a normal bed, so that's probably why I snore whenever I come home. When I do go home, I
Uh-huh.
snore. But I'm, of course, whenever I go home, I go to my parents' house, and because I don't own a house other than my truck, and and a normal bed feels weird whenever I sleep, so I snore.
Right. Yeah, I I've been sick when I was on DT and sneezing and um didn't sound right. But yeah, I definitely am a nose person who loves to breathe through their nose. And it's really funny how people always say, well, if you breathe through your mouth when you sleep, do you know how many bugs that you end up swallowing? And that is a fallacy. It's not true.
Yeah,
People, you don't swallow bugs when you sleep. uh, so uh, you guys are saying Cinderella. What's that about the 17th? They're going to do a CAT scan. I'm
but
not completely keeping up with everybody here, but
hey, Nami, I'm gonna jump off here because I gotta get up in
oh yeah,
4 hours.
yeah, you need to
I,
get some sleep there, buddy.
yeah,
Hey, thanks a lot for coming up
yeah.
and still being a mod. I
Oh yeah.
appreciate it.
Oh
Really
yeah.
appreciate it.
Yeah,
So
I was debating on coming on. I was like, man, I gotta get some sleep.
yeah,
But
you got to get some sleep.
yeah, and what's so bad is every once in a while I get a case of the being a zombia or zombiac or whatever it's called,
Yeah.
and I think it hit me yesterday because I got like 3 hours of sleep and I was wide awake after 3 hours of sleep. So
Yeah. Well, get yourself some sleep there, bud, and be
all
safe
right,
out on the roads. Thanks a lot for coming up and saying what was on your mind, and I
yeah.
appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome, man. And Buttercup, I'm handing the wrench over to you. But all right, guys, I'll see y'all later.
All right, you take care.
All right, bye.
All right, bye bye.
Bye.
Real nice gentleman. I'm so glad that he made it. He he does that thankless job that people I know I bring up every time uh, out there on the roads hauling materials from one spot to another, whether it's groceries or uh, wood products or whatever it is that he hauls. Um, it's really one of those jobs that people don't sit and think about. Without those truck drivers out there, we wouldn't have our goods. So, again, Brandon, thank you much for being or doing what you do, sir. And uh, I do appreciate what you do. So, and with that, so did everybody get to see the bird? Did you see the bird up on the screen there? It's not me. Trust me, I don't have feathers. But I don't know. Anybody can see. I was wondering what happened to Sen. She usually comes on. She must be busy tonight, or she didn't get the. Yeah, he's cool, but he's a pain in the butt. Uh, so you want a bird song? Well, I'm not going to tweet like one. Um, and there's already been one song called Rockin' Robin, and so I guess I got to come up with some good lyrics for Toby. And it's really funny. He barks like a dog, but that he is not the only bird that I have heard barking like a dog. There's been some African grays that I've heard. I've heard a cockatoo or cockatiel, which are the smaller ones, bark like a dog. And I love watching those animals that they video and put on that do some of the funniest things. And you sort of wonder, how did they get those animals to do what they do? But a lot of times it just happens. And there's times that um, I've been talking with Toby, and he'll look at me, and he will like take a step and not realize where he's stepping and almost falls flat on his beak. And he catches himself real quick. But it's just funny to watch him do some of the things that he does. He is so fierce by barking. And yet, when the garbage truck comes down the street, he has to come over to the corner of the cage where I am close to and looks out the window, and then he keeps looking at me like, you're going to protect me from that mean garbage truck. So those things that he does, it's just hilarious. Animals can be just as funny as people can. They really can. So anybody else want to come up on panel? You're more than welcome. Chris, you're more than welcome to get up here uh, and you can do exactly what I'm doing. You can use a avatar. You don't have to show your face if you don't want to. Um, yeah. Um, Daisy, which I'll bring up next week, is the yellow-headed Amazon, and she will call the cat, and it's really funny. I'm not kidding. It doesn't happen every time, but she will go, here, kitty, 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 and then she will go meow, and the minute she goes meow, Toby starts barking like a dog. And it's just, you can't, you just don't know where it comes from, but it happens, and it's just so funny when it does. Not all the time, but a lot of times they've done that. She will yell at Toby for screaming, or she'll say when I tell him to be quiet, if he's making too much noise, which you guys have probably heard me say. Okay, that's fine, Chris. When you're ready, then you can come up. Just let me know. Anybody else wants to come up here, they're more than welcome. If they have something that they want to talk about, or some experiences that they've had that they might think other people might either go, ooh, ah, or just laugh their butt off because they've done the same thing. Like I said, there's no real rules other than I want to keep it light. I want to keep it fun with this channel. And I'm glad that there's a lot of people who have come on to the channel. You guys really think, I thank you a lot. And I do miss DT. Like I said, I once in a while will make a comment. I'll leave it on when I'm busy with her, and I have to make a comment. It's like turning on the television and walking from one room to the next. As you walk by, something is said on the TV, and you stop and look, and it's like, oh, really? I knew that. I saw this show before. And then you continue on walking. Well, it's sort of like that when I turn on the laptop or the notebook that I have, that I will be in the other room doing dishes or laundry, and all of a sudden I walk into the other room to grab a dish off of the end table, or grab something that I left on the couch that needs to go into the laundry, and I'll hear something said on DT, and I'll sit there and go, oh, I got to comment on this. So, and that's what I do. It isn't like I'm sitting there the whole 2 hours or whatever, like I was when I was on panel. It was, if I hear something and I go, oh, I've got to make a comment about this, then I will. But I'm got to the point where some things bother me a lot as I'm getting that never used to bother me, and I've talked to with people and said that right, Chris, I agree. But you know what? To enjoy music, you don't have to do what we did. I mean, there are people who have probably got beautiful voices that have never sang professionally, and very few people have ever heard them. And as long as you enjoy the music and you feel something, it's like I go into karaoke still because I can somewhat sing. I mean, I'm not I've had a lot of people come up and compliment me on my singing. And naturally, well, thank you. I used to be able to sing a lot better than what I do now because I'm and my voice isn't the same. Oh my gosh, people, if you would have heard my voice back when I was in my 30s, you would have almost thought that I sounded like a girl because I had such a high voice, singing voice. And I wouldn't strain at all. I didn't have to go falsetto, nothing. I mean, it was like I was the female version of, oh gosh, what's her name? Now I can't think of her name. The long hair, great legs. She was born of, I think her father was Hispanic and her mother was white. Somebody mentioned her name, and I'll be able to tell you who it was. She sang the song about Christmas. All I want for Christmas is you. Gosh, come on, people, tell me. And I don't know if anybody has ever done the same thing that I'm doing, but when you want to remember somebody's name, Mariah Carey, that's it. Okay. Thank you, Chris. Yeah, I used to be able to sing high. I mean, and it was no problem whatsoever. But as the years progressed, my voice started coming down. I could still hit the high notes, but it was more falsetto-ish, not completely, but close. And I would have to really compress the old diaphragm to get those notes to come out. But now, now that you can change the key when you're singing karaoke, which is nice. Yes, All I Want for Christmas. Yeah, great song. Makes people's ears bleed. She is talented, though, and I'm going to say it, ladies. And Chris understands what I'm saying. Crackers, yes, Chris, I wouldn't care. And she could even bring the peanut butter. I wouldn't care. And I think Chris knows what I'm talking about. And if you ladies know, well, you're a soprano? Wow, Buttercup. Yeah, I think that's what happens is our voices they change big time. And my voice now, I still have a high voice. I don't sound like I should be at 72. I should be talking like this. I can't even talk like that because it's hard for me. And I don't want to be old. I want to think myself as being young, and that's what keeps me going. Is if you keep thinking yourself being young, you're going to be young. Don't let anybody else look at you and say, "Oh, you're too old for that." Nah, look at them and say, "When is too old?" Because there is no book that says once you reach this age, you can't do it. I mean, look at those older. I shouldn't say that. Those people that are up in their 90s, the grannies that jump out of airplanes, tandem. I mean, God, it must take a lot of guts. But I guess, for me, I wouldn't jump out of an airplane, not right now, because I still believe that I have a lot of life left. But if I get up there, maybe, in my 90s, I might decide, well, there's one of two things are going to happen. Either I'm going to have a heart attack and die on the way down to the ground, or when I hit the ground, it ain't going to matter anyway. But then, you've got the third option is that you're going to make it. And that's what you want to do. Do you know? And that's the thing, Chris. As long as I have the satisfaction that people come up and they pat me on the back and say, wow, I didn't know that you could sing like that. And I tell them, I was in the music business for a little bit, not professionally to where I made records, but I got paid for it. So when you do something like that, I guess you're a professional. When you get paid for your services, oh, that sounds bad, doesn't it? By singing and performing on a stage in front of people, I guess that's considered a professional. But as long as you can go in and people, I know there are those folks who go in and they get a little liquid courage. I always used to call it liquid courage, that they decided that somebody talked them into getting up on stage and singing a song. And the minute that first note came out, it was like you were waiting for the glasses on the tables to start shaking and then just shattering because of the sound that came out. But the thing that I think about the most is if they have the guts to get up in front of a large crowd of people and sing, then more power to them. Because there's some people who can sing that refuse to get up and sing. And it's not really hard for me to do it because I've been doing it for so many years that I don't have, any substances like alcohol or pot or anything in my system to make me get up and do it. I just do it because I know I can still do it. And as long as people say, hey, I liked your voice, you did the song very well, and I'll keep doing it. But when it gets to the point they say, my name, maybe you should think about not singing so much. Then I will probably take what they say in stride and say, yep, it's time for me to be more of an observer than an entertainer. So, but let's see. Queen would probably need to drop a song tune. Yes, and that will happen. I've heard professional singers who had been in the business for so long that needed to stop. I don't know. I mean, I could probably name some people, but they were great singers in their times. I mean, people loved my father loved people like Tony Bennett, Frank Sinatra, Andy Williams, Nat King Cole. He loved people like that to sing. He would sit. He had albums of those people, and he would sit and listen to those. And at the time, being younger, we got accustomed to hearing it. And it was funny when my father got to the point where the Beatles came to the United States, his impression of the Beatles was, look at those long hair freaks. I mean, who dresses like that? Who talks like that? But then they started singing. And it was like this little flame that was in my father's mind grew bigger and bigger and bigger. And the more they sang, the more he liked them. And his favorite song by the Beatles was The Sun King. And it's really amazing to see how people can change over, generations and generations from one genre to another. But what's really funny, Chris, is that there are people who still like that older music that will make you get up and dance. There's something about it. Yeah, he did. Yeah, there were a lot of people who couldn't remember the words to songs, and they had to have cue cards. A teleprompter was something that a lot of the older musicians had down on the floor, and you'd see them once in a while as they were moving around. They'd look down at the floor, and they were looking at the words because they couldn't remember all the words because of dementia, or in my case, brain fart. I've sang songs over and over and over again, and then if I don't sing them enough, I will occasionally forget the words and go, I know that song. Why did I forget it? It's just like Mariah Carey's name. If I wouldn't have thought about it, I would have said the name. And how many people on the channel have had that happen, where somebody asked you a question and you knew the answer, but when you went to say the answer, you couldn't think of the answer, but you knew that you know the answer. And you would try to come up with that name or place or thing or whatever it was. And you go, oh, I know it. I know it. I know it. And then 5 minutes later, when nobody's asking that question, you look up at everybody, you snap your fingers and you go, damn it, I know what it was. And you give them the answer. And they say, yeah, that's what everybody said 5 minutes ago. And you go, oh yeah, okay. Has anybody ever had that happen to them? I have had many times. Yeah, that's what yeah, exactly, Chris. It's called see, I can't even remember it. It's not dementia. It's called CRS. For those who don't know what the proper name is for people who have that problem of remembering, it's called CRS. And the proper name for that is can't remember shit. So if people say that you have CRS, you just look at them and say, yeah, something like that. Oh, God. Yeah, I've done that too, Southern Yankee. In the middle of a conversation, you're talking to somebody, you're expressing what you feel and the answer and getting into the conversation. And then somebody says something or coughs and you look at them and you start talking again and go, now, where the hell was I before I was so rudely interrupted? And it wasn't intentional. No, somebody didn't just jump up and say, hey, you going to talk about something different? No. And then you try to, get back to what you were saying, and it just doesn't work. Or how many people have been in a room and you're going to do a project, whether you're going to hang a picture, whether you're going to get the vacuum and vacuum the floor, or you need a dust rag, or you need a level, or whatever it is, or piece of tape, simple piece of tape, and you go, oh, it's in the other room. So you go in the other room and you stand there, and all of a sudden it's like, why did I come in here? Why did I go from that room to this room? I know I was going to get something. What was I going to get? And you sit there and scratch your head and go, crap. And you walk back in the other room And the minute you get into the room, you go, damn it, I forgot to get that piece of tape or that nail or the hammer or the wrench, whatever. And you walk back in the other room and you remember to get it. But for some reason or another, when you did it the first time, it was just a total blank. It was like somebody took the dry erase and, you know, put their fingers on it and blurred it out so you couldn't figure out what it was that you wanted in the other room. Has anybody else done that? Or have you gone into a room and you were looking for something, and when you picked up like the hammer, you went, no, that isn't why I came in here. It was something else. So you put the hammer down and you pick up the wrench and go, no, it wasn't the wrench. What was it that I needed in the other room? And you start picking up everything around and you go, oh, crap. I'm never going to figure this one out. And then as you're walking out of the room, you pick up something and you walk back into the room and you go, this is what I wanted. It's like the mind, it just like blanks out. Like you actually got what you wanted, but you didn't think about it because as you were picking up other things, you were thinking about it and it just didn't register. Buttercup, okay, hey, go see your hubby. He deserves your attention. Thank you very much for being in here and being a mod as long as you did. I'm only going to have, in fact, it's been 2 hours and I don't want to do an all-nighter. Kim, I'm glad that you are in here. I really am. If I was didn't pay attention to you, were you looking for your phone and you're talking on it? Yes, I've done that, Kim. I've gone from one room to another and somebody says, well, get your phone because I want to call you. And it's like, okay, let me find it. And they're laughing in the background. And you're going, what's so damn funny? And they say, well, you're talking on your phone, aren't you? Oh, okay. Just because I'm you wanted to see if I was awake, right? Well, you got me. So there. Oh, yeah. So many times. Oh, we are just about going through everything. I don't think there's not too much that we haven't talked about. And it's been cool because we haven't had, the disruption and yeah, either that or you've got them on, like my sunglasses. I've done that before, Chris. I've had my sunglasses on, going through the house looking for them, and somebody says, what in the hell are you looking for? I'm looking for my sunglasses. You're on your face. Oh, yeah. I just wanted to see if you noticed. And they laugh. Southern Yankee, thank you very much for stopping by. I will be here next Thursday again to be boring, I guess. But actually, thank you very much for stopping by. I appreciate it. Maybe we can get this this chat up even more. I mean, there's more people here today than there was, and I'm glad you people are here. And if you people want to get up on panel and you have some funny things that have happened to you, and you think it might be, funny to sit and listen to, if you have a joke that isn't funny and you still think it's funny while everybody says it's not funny, why are you telling that joke? Come up and maybe we can come up. Hey, Chris, do you think maybe we can come up with a hidden musician or a singer that nobody has ever heard, and let them sing a song and discover them and make some money? I mean, I'm willing. Um, uh, I'm glad, Chris. I really am. This is the way people need to talk to each other. You know, you have fun and you come up with things, and it's um mucus is such a disaster these days. It might, yes. And you know what's really sad is the songs that I do. Yes, I do have a musical background, so I do have some theory on how music should be arranged and such like that. But because experience is the best teacher, the programs that they've got out now, I mean, it's unbelievable. The singers that they have are AI. The program I have, and I'm not afraid to tell people, Suno, Suno. If anybody wants to go and play with that program, it's really a terrific program, and it's easy. All you have to do is, like, if you have lyrics, you can put lyrics in that you have yourself, and it takes and gives you the chords. It gives you the genre, which a lot of people don't know what genre is, but it's the style of music that you want to listen to, whether it be country, rock, hard, head bashing, uh, you know, mosh pit type thing. It will do just about anything that you want if you tell it the right instructions. And to make a song, and I've been thinking about this, Chris. Um, if you get the version where you can't save songs, yeah, you can get it for free. But if you want to save songs, it costs you so much per month, or you can do a yearly thing, and it gives you more songs that you can keep in your library. And what I've done with my songs is I've taken them off the program and put them into a directory so I won't ever lose those songs that I've made. I've got every song that I ever made that was put on to DT. And I have other songs that I have never put on DT that didn't relate to anything, you know, that concerned a certain individual or individuals that we were talking about. But good, Sandra. Oh my gosh, I'm glad you made it. That's cool. I'm glad that you guys. It's really, you don't realize how it makes me feel to know that you guys are willing to come over and just BS and talk like, this is my living room, and actually I am in the living room, and you guys are part of the company. I mean, I'm sorry I don't have coffee or iced tea or Coke or Diet Coke, whatever, for you guys to enjoy. But what I would love to do one time, and I know, can you imagine getting everyone together that, I'm sure that there's people that Dougie knows that we don't know. I'm sure that I know people that you folks haven't got the chance to talk to because they don't really like YouTube, but they'll get on it occasionally. And having everyone meet at one place at one time just to meet new friends. Or actually, it wouldn't be meeting new friends, it would be just to say, okay, now I got to meet you personally. And because I tell you, people, it's so hard to keep friends. Because if you don't treat them the way that you want to be treated, you're going to lose friends. So always respect the people that you talk to, even though you may not agree with everything they have to say. Keep them as a friend. Take and your disagreements that you have between each other and throw it to the side. If you have different religious beliefs, if you have different politic beliefs, throw them to the side, because friends are so valuable. True friends. And everybody that came on here tonight, I'm glad that you guys came on here, because you're that family that I met someplace else, and I'm really honored that you guys felt that I was important enough to come and talk and just have a good time, not do the same thing that we normally do with DT, which I will be probably doing some housework tomorrow for someone and doing some laundry, and I'll have it on, and I may come by and throw my fingers on the keyboard and say something and get back to what I was doing, rather than to be on the panel. But when things get straightened out, which not sure when it's going to happen, I'll be back on DT, and definitely when something happens that we're all hoping for, the results of someone getting their just desserts, which I don't want to go too far into it, but I will definitely be around, and it's great that you guys. What? I'm sorry, Sandra. You said something here. Da, 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 da. Oh, really? Is that? Wow. No, I didn't hear about that either. Good, Sandra. Yeah. Oh, wow. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I am too, Chris. All I can do is just hope and take one day at a time and one doctor's appointment at a time. I never thought I'd ever have to say that. But yeah, we're keeping it positive, and that's the way that it has to be. You don't want negative. You don't want to think negative, because then that brings everything to a screeching halt, and I don't want to do that. I want to just keep going and have a positive attitude. That's interesting. Gosh, I'll have to maybe do some surfing tonight and see if I can hear more of what happened. Huh. I can imagine. Good, Sandra. I can imagine. But, it's really funny how people don't realize that you're not really as special as you think you are, just because you have that persona doesn't make you better. Because remember, people, bottom line, we are all human, and we make mistakes, and if we don't think about what we do before we say or do, the consequence is not going to be a good one. So, what can you say to those people? Thank you, Chris. I appreciate it. And I know everybody else has probably got some real good things too to say. If you're in here and you haven't hit the like button, please, folks, be my guest. I guess I'm going to have to get a snare drum and a crash cymbal sound, Chris, and we'll have to have you as the appointed hit that like button person. We'll give you that opportunity to do that if you want to do it. Yeah, man. What? Let me ask you guys something. What do you think the generation that is using YouTube the most, which I'm saying is probably between their 50s and 20s, what would they do if there wasn't a YouTube? You have any ideas about what would happen? What would they be doing right now? Would they be reading a book? Would they be out cruising in their cars? Would they... I mean, what do you think people would do? What would you do, Chris, if you did not have YouTube to get on? And Sandra and anybody else that's in the chat, what would you guys be doing right now? Would you be watching the boob tube, sitting on the couch? Here I'm waiting to see if anybody answers. Ooh, 2.5 hours. Man. Ooh. Refer back to what I know from when I was at that age, mostly interesting bands. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. People would revert back to the boob tube again. That's what I called it when I was younger, the boob tube. It would be, I mean, YouTube, I think, has become all of those drama channels that you don't see on TV. It's like some people find it really boring to be on YouTube. They say they've got better things to do. Why do you waste your time? Why do you want to sit and listen to those people complain and brag and get in controversial conversations? And I think it's an outlet. YouTube is definitely an outlet for people who, it's like, does anybody remember Ann Landers, the columnist? And I'm trying to think what paper it was that she was popular in. But people would buy the newspaper just to read her column, how people would write to her when they had problems with their life, rather than to go to a psychiatrist or therapist or whatever. They would ask Ann Landers, what would she do, or what advice does she have? You guys remember that? It was like she was the know-it-all of columnist. If she knew the answer, she would tell you right away. If she didn't know the answer, she'd find out and tell you her version of what the answer meant. Abby, yes. Dear Abby. Oh yeah, I remember that. Paul Harvey. Oh, now you know the rest of the story. Um, that I used to listen to Paul Harvey every noon. Oh my gosh. He would get on, and his favorite commercial, I think, was the I believe it was when the they had the cleaning company, and you could become one of the cleaning company. And I'm trying to remember. You know, Jackie, that Paul Harvey's son took over his place, and I'm not sure if he still does it or not, but he sounded just like his dad. You know, and it was, yeah, Paul Harvey was so good. It was almost as bad as losing uh, the announcer for the Chicago Cubs. Um, what the heck was his name? Harry, was it Harry Carey? No. God, I can't remember his name. That's pretty bad. Uh, yeah, yeah, that's it, Chris. It was Carey. Um, gosh, those were the days, huh? When announcers could say something. It's like listening to, if anybody ever remembers, uh, when uh, here I am. I know the person who I want to talk about. Uh, Charlton Heston, when he read the Bible. Not that I'm a big religious person, but when yeah, holy cow. Another one too was the one who was the announcer for the Mariners. Um, get out the rye bread and salami. No, get out the rye bread and oh gosh, get out the rye bread and mustard. It's a grand salami. Um, he used to do the wow. Might have to jump over there. I haven't sat and listened to Boss in a long time. He's like one of those controversial people, you know. Um, oh gosh, if I don't think about it, 10 minutes from now, while I'm off the channel, I'll go, I know who it was. And I'll go, well, that's good because there's nobody here that's going to listen to you right now because they're all gone. He used to, when somebody would get a home run, he would go, my, oh my, or a strikeout. Now, if I was to call my brother up right now, he could tell me in a heartbeat. The one that is autistic, it's unbelievable. You tell him or ask him a question about who was the coach for the New York Knicks back in 1982. He could tell you right off the top of his head. But to ask him how many quarters are in a dollar, he looks at you and says a lot because he can't comprehend those things. Which, you know, I really feel sorry for my adopted brother. But then again, look at it this way. He doesn't have to put up with the crap that we do. Anybody ever notice that? People always feel sorry for people who have a disability, whether it be mentally or physically, and they don't realize that, hey, they don't have it that bad. Look at the crap they don't have to put up with, like we do. We have to put up with taxes. We have to put up politicians. We have to put up with people who are just plain stupid out on the road. And those people, their lives are so simple. all they have to do is be at the dinner table when it's time. Vin Scully's good. Oh yeah, I remember Vin Scully. All they have to do is show up for supper, get dressed in the morning, and then go to work where they've been put into a job that they can do, and people appreciate what they do, and they feel like they're part of society, and it's really cool. Bob Uecker, yeah. Gosh, you guys are really hitting the barrel, or the bell this time with all those people. Oh gosh. I can't believe that we can sit here and talk about so many different things. And it's so cool that, yeah. Sandra, I know you know who I'm talking about. And I can't think for the life of me his name. If I don't think of it, then I'll come up with it. I know I will. If I just talk about something else, his name will come up. But if anybody else can come up with a name, by all means, go ahead. I was a big baseball fan. Chris, did you ever play Little League? I started off in baseball being a bat boy because I was, at that time, they didn't really allow, well, they did, but not so much. They didn't really have T-ball back then. It was either you played baseball with a wooden bat and a leather covered ball, or you didn't play baseball. But now it's really cool that they have the kids that get up there with the T-ball and give them something to do, which is really cool. I think it's so cool. But I used to be a bat boy, and I thought that was the most important. And man, I would, these guys, they were like 15 and 16 years old, and I was telling them what to do when I was 7. They'd put their gloves on the ground, and people, I'd say, get your glove off the ground before I walk on it, and you can't use it. And they'd pick it up, Of course, it sort of helped when my dad was the manager of the football or the baseball team too, because they knew if they said anything to me bad, that my dad would bench them for an inning. So I sort of had that, but yeah, it was fun being a bat boy because I had to make sure that, oh man, I had the bats arranged. We used to stick them through the cyclone fence inside the dugout, and they would hang there. I don't know if you remember that, Chris, but you didn't have bat racks or anything like that. It was, you took the bat, you stuck it in to the cyclone fence, and it hung straight down because they never attached the fence at the bottom anyway. And it was fun. I remember that. It was it was vividly wrote into my memories. Oh, those things that you keep thinking about, the good memories, where do they all go? I mean, just think of all those things that we have experienced in our lives. There are some things that stick out, and some things get suppressed, and we don't understand why they get suppressed unless somebody makes a comment that has a word in it that triggers that. Oh yeah, I remember that. That was gosh, I almost forgot about that, and it was those things that you think it was cool. I experienced it. I remember my father making a go-kart for us with a lawnmower engine on it, and we would go screaming up and down the street, it was like a private street that was closed off on one end. It was almost like a cul-de-sac, but it was a long street, and we'd take the go-kart up and down the street. Um, oh gosh, yeah, the good old days. Now I don't know if anybody else had one, but I had a four-wheel bicycle, and it was a Surrey bicycle. And I don't know if anybody remembers those, but the driver would sit in the back seat. He only had like a bench seat just big enough for him. And he could take, depending on the size of the kids, 2 or 3 people up in front. And there was no guard, no nothing. All you did was sit down in the seat and put your feet up on these 2 or 3 boards that went from left to right that gave you, to keep your feet from scraping on the ground. But it was a chain bicycle, and you pumped it from behind the passengers. And it was a Surrey bicycle. And there were only 2 of them in the neighborhood. I had one and somebody else had one. And they were so cool. Does anybody ever remember those at all? Those Surrey bicycles? I can't remember if it was called a Surrey. I believe it was. I would have to get on my phone and scope it out. Jackie, thank you very much for coming by. Hey, it's really super that you guys were here and reminisce about the good old days, because there was just so many of them that we can remember. And I keep telling myself sometimes when I can't remember things, it's like I have all these filing cabinets up in my head, and I want to remember something, and I walk into the room, and I know the filing cabinets are there, but for some reason or another, I get too far into the room, and I realize, hey, dummy, you forgot to turn on the light. How are you going to be able to see the information? So by the time I go back and turn on the light, I realized, what was I thinking about? What was that memory? And then I go, I'll think about it some other time. Oh, yeah. Jackie, thank you again for coming. I really, really appreciate you guys coming in here. It is so cool to see everybody and the likes and everything. And to have you guys come up and say something. It's really, really, really cool. But yeah, I guess what I should do, since it's almost been 3 hours, God, can you believe it? We've been here 3 hours, almost 3 hours, just, I call myself Mr. Brooks because I babble a lot. And that was one thing that my parents told me, that, man, if there was something that you had to say when you were little, you would come marching into the room and you would just start babbling. And even though we couldn't understand what you were saying, you knew what you were saying, and it made sense to you. So we sat there like good parents and listened to what you had to say. And, we didn't know what you were saying, but, it sounded like it made sense. So we'd shake our heads, yes. And then after you got done saying what you had to say, you'd march out of the room, and they would look at each other and go, did you understand anything that he said? So, yeah, parents, they put up with a lot. 3-hour tour. Yeah. But we didn't get shipwrecked though, Chris. That's the fun thing about it. And I don't know about you, Chris, but I liked Marianne a heck of a lot better than Tina Louise. You know, the Ginger, I should say. Marianne, that's something about the country girl that I liked a lot better than Ginger. She was just so home, down home type of person, you know. Oh yeah. I never got to meet them. The only, well, the first person that I ever got to meet that I remember was going on, or I wasn't on the show, but when I was in California, I wasn't that far from Hollywood, and we got to meet. I wished I could have done that. I really do. I wished, I got to meet an individual who was very popular back in the days, and that was Art Linkletter. And he had a show that he had kids on, and it was called Kids Say the Darndest Things. I don't know if anybody remembers that, but that was a cool show. And the kids, now you sort of wondered, were they told to say certain things? Because some of the things they said was like, oh, come on. Some kid that young is going to remember that or say that thing to whoever. But, kids say the darnest things. Yep. Yeah. Also, I remember there was, oh gosh, what was his name? He had a show called You're on Candid Camera. Do you remember that one? That was a funny show. Alan Funt, was that his name? I think it was, if I can recall. Alan Funt. And he had Candid Camera. Does anybody else remember that? Yeah, that was so funny. And he had a partner that also was on the show with him. I think he wore glasses. A tall, thin guy. Can't remember his name. But yeah. Now, isn't that funny how we sit here and come up with these? I wouldn't have never sat here and discussed You're on Candid Camera and Kids Say the Darndest Things if it weren't for you and other people on the chat, which is really cool, because it brings back those memories. Yeah, but they did have reruns of that, but it was cool. It really was. Yeah, gosh. Now I'm starting to sound like my dad. He used to say that all the time. Yeah, gosh. Do you find yourself imitating your parents at time, or not imitating them, but realizing that the things that you do were exactly the things that they would have done at your age? It's sort of like that. What is that Progressive commercial? No, was it Progressive that has the people who are trying? They say, "Don't grow up like your parents." Yeah. Well, anyway, we've got 4 minutes to 7, and what I should do is get off of here. Talked about your dad in Special Olympics. My dad was a photographer, and he got to meet Artie Johnson. Yeah. Wow. Yep. Yeah. Oh, God. I wished I could bring up some of the photos that I had. Um, I got to meet Jan and Dean. They used to go to, when I lived in Wisconsin, there was a water park in Wisconsin Dells called Noah's Ark, and I lived right across the street from it. And I used to go in there every summer, and they would have Jan and Dean twice a summer would come in there, and they would do a show. And I got to meet them and talk with them several times. Really two cool guys. They really were. And both of them could still sing, because they would sing even without the music and they still sounded the same. Then let's see, I'm trying to remember. Gosh. Oh, I met him and I have a picture of him and I'll have to dig it out and I'll put it up on my window. It was the lead guitar player of Blue Oyster Cult. I'm trying to think of his name. He used to wear a suit when he first started, and like was it a blue colored silk suit or something like that when he first started, when they came out with Godzilla and Don't Fear the Reaper. Gosh, yeah. I'll have to dig that picture out. I know I have it in my phone, but it's here I am standing in between two members of Blue Oyster Cult. They were the lead singer. Well, there was the lead singer and the other guy that did a lot of the backup, and I'm standing in between them, and we all three have our thumbs up. And here I am standing there in a Styx t-shirt. Can you imagine that? get my picture taken with two of the members of Blue Oyster Cult, and I have a Styx jacket on or a shirt on. Oh, oh gosh, yeah. Wow. Um, the girlfriend's youngest had just now moved down to Jacksonville, and we're going to go down there in February. Yeah, 38 Special. God, good band. I got to see them. It was up in Renton, Washington, I believe it was. It was three bands. It was 38 Special. There was oh gosh. Let me think here. I want to make sure I get the right bands. It was 38 Special. It wasn't Styx. Maybe it was Styx. And REO Speedwagon. Three bands in one concert. And it was unphenomenal. Just, did I say unphenomenal? No, it was phenomenal that all three bands got together up on the stage and played. I think it was like 3.5 hours, and they had to take a break in between. Great. Oh my God. It was just super, super, super. Um, saw Paul McCartney before he got to the point where his voice was really, really bad. Got to see him down in Seattle, Washington, at the baseball stadium. And I was able to sit up in the handicap section because of my right leg. I had bone spur surgery, so I've got a disabled pass, and I was able to get up there and sit and watch. And there was nobody in front of us between us and the stage. Nobody, even if they had their hands up in the air, they couldn't hold them up high enough to block the view of Paul McCartney, which was just a super, super show. But yeah. Oh, yeah. You hate to see important people that have contributed to either the music industry or something else. Okay. Hey, we will be on DT tomorrow, Kim, for sure. Thank you very much for stopping by. I appreciate it. And like I said, this is going to be one of those channels that, we reminisce and people can come up on stage or on panel and say things that, that they remember about their lives and other people that were important in their lives and how their lives have turned out so far because of other people. But hey, thank you very much for stopping by. I appreciate it. I really do. And you have a good night. So with that in mind, it's 3 minutes after 7, people. I have to make sure that I get some things done before tomorrow because I have to go to an appointment, I believe, at 11:30 with someone. Just never ends. But you guys, I'm going to call it a night. Thank you very much, Chris, for sticking around to the end. I appreciate you, bud. It's been cool talking about music. We'll talk some more about the funniest things that happened to you when you were up on stage and some of the most embarrassing moments that happened to you up on stage. And because I want to, get to know you guys more and hear about your adventures and such. So everyone, I'm going to bid you adieu. It's been great. Thank you for showing up. It's been like I said, the thing in the living room where people just gather around and talk and have a good time and learn about other people's experiences and stuff. So again, people, we will probably talk to you. I might be jumping in and saying hi on DT and hearing some of the good music that JoJo does. I wish he would have come up and talked with us, but maybe next time we'll see if we can get her up here and do some things. Chris, I appreciate that, and Kim and everybody else. Have a good night, and thank you. I appreciate it. You guys are good people, and that's what this world needs is more good people. So everyone, have a good night.